Others were injured. Our Kathy Egan is standing by live now with the latest details. Kathy?
Rob, police say George Valls of Bethel, Ohio, died in the explosion here at the plant. You can still see a lot of the debris from the blast behind me. Authorities say he was apparently welding a ladder on the side of a storage tank right before the explosion occurred. Our reporter Stephen Langford was here on the site for most of the day, and he has the first of our reports.
From Covington, from Norwood, from Fort Thomas, the entire tri-state wondered what on earth had happened. In Newtown, there was no doubt.
Just looked like the Challenger, how it blows up, the rocket, it just flew up and flames just shot everywhere. And
sounded like thunder. The building shook. Saw a lot of orange flames outside the door.
Those who worked at the plant and managed to escape were badly shaken.
I was just back there and it just puffed black smoke and fire. That was it. Then all the cars started blowing up, burning up.
Firemen did the best they could to try to stop the inferno, but at times it seems they couldn't even come close to fighting its fury. Authorities say it's no surprise that the tank blew sky high, given the content of the container.
The asphalt is a very serious situation when it's burning. It's very hard to put out.
In the end, the true enormity of what happened here today may perhaps be seen only in the eyes of those who will have to live with this. Stephen Langford, Eyewitness 12 News, Newtown.
This is Kathy Egan. Even though they were exhausted from a full day of fighting fire here at the Brewer Cote plant, firefighters were still at it this evening. They continued to douse piles of burnt debris, putting out small fires that continually erupted. Bulldozers plowed through what remains of the plant's storage area, an area completely torn up by the explosions.
The building's burned completely down, and several tanks are down. There's several cars, employee cars apparently, that burned up in the fire. So I don't really have a cost estimate, but it's pretty devastating.
We don't see many like this, but when we do, I mean, it's really bad.
Ken Dorshung is one of dozens of firefighters who battled the blaze. He says this fire was particularly hard to fight because there are all kinds of chemicals and flammable material on site. Special breathing apparatus was necessary to do the job.
On a fire like this, where the heat is so tremendous, you can't get real close to it, so you had to fight it from afar. Plus the chemicals that were in the building, they react differently. There were several different firemen that were taken to the hospital with different burns.
13 firefighters in all were taken to the hospital and treated for minor burns and smoke inhalation. But firefighters say that wasn't the only problem. They say they also had to run fire hoses more than a quarter of a mile just to be able to reach the blaze. No city water lines run along this street, and a water tank the Brewer Company had on site was unreachable, surrounded by fire. Newtown Mayor Paul Freedy says that's about to change. 2 days ago, the city approved plans to put water lines closer.
It's always been one of our concerns. We do have our fire training up there. Probably once a month they run up there and have what they call a dry run. And they come up the evenings and to know where everything is at.
Officials say 26 people work here at the plant, but most of them were gone when the blast occurred because it was lunchtime. George Valls' family, as you can well imagine, is grieving tonight. They say he was the only welder who worked here at the plant, and Rob, they say he really loved his job.
Kathy, it's our understanding that OSHA and the EPA have launched investigations into this mishap. Where do they stand tonight, do you know?
Rob, they were out here today. They did begin their investigations, but they really couldn't get a lot of information at this point. They say most of it will be done tomorrow. They'll be back out here bright and early.
Okay, thank you very much. Kathy Egan reporting live in Newtown. For those people who work at the Brewer Cote Company, this is a day they will never forget. Eyewitness 12's Mary Kruko talked to one employee who was within 200 yards of the tank when it exploded into a ball of flames.
When Bill O'Neill went to work this morning, he was thinking about his big plans for the Memorial Day weekend. He decided to work through his lunch hour, labeling driveway sealer. Then suddenly, he heard a rumble.
I heard a bunch of steam or pressure, and I looked over at this tank, and a fireball come out from under it, and it shot up about 100 feet in the air, exploded, and there was a big mushroom cloud, asphalt or tar spread out on the ground. It was just nothing but flames and smoke.
Bill saw the flames heading toward the cars in the parking lot. Several gas tanks exploded from the heat as Bill was moving his own car out of the way.
Everyone was trying to get everyone together so they would know who was missing and who wasn't. but really there wasn't nothing anybody could do. Just stay out of the way.
The intense heat then overcame the 23-year-old employee. Bill was taken to Mercy Anderson Hospital and treated for smoke inhalation. That's when he learned one of his co-workers didn't make it. Brewer is a small company. Everyone's friendly to everyone else. When he went to work this morning, Bill O'Neill said he never dreamed of the tragedy the day would bring. Mary Krutko, Eyewitness 12 News.
This is not the first fire the Brewer Cote Company has had at its Newtown plant. In 1979, lightning struck a tank filled with asphalt, you may remember. An explosion and fire ensued. Unlike the one today, though, nobody was hurt then.